Hello and welcome back to the Roma Daily Podcast with your hosts Marco DeMarinis and Wayne Gerard. Today we're reacting to Roma's massive derby victory over Lazio. It was a night full of emotion, intensity, and history for the Giallorossi. Gianluca Mancini delivered a historic performance under the lights of the Olimpico, while Giampiero Gasparini matched some impressive derby records in his first season at the club. So now we're going to talk about what was an extraordinary morning for some people. 6 a.m. for us in North America. I'm still, I feel like jet lagged. I don't know how you feel, Wayne.
Marco, a massive feat. We have so much to talk about with this match. And I think the most important thing before we begin is that everyone understands that Roma are now in the fourth spot by themselves. Juventus dropped points away to Fiorentina, and now Roma, against all odds, Gasparini is able to possibly fight for another Champions League season in his inaugural season in the club, going into the club's 100th season. This has the opportunity to be really, really big. We've got one more match to go. But right now, as we start to break this down, Marco, I'm thrilled. You used the word jet lag, and that's how I feel too. Like my body was exhausted after this, aside from the fact of waking up at 5:50 a.m. But now digesting it and going through all those emotions, and then from the 82nd minute on, just hoping that Fiorentina could hold together with they were down a man, then they scored again. It was like a massive relief for the second week in a row. So I totally resonate that with you that we are completely mentally, physically, and emotionally drained at the moment.
Absolutely drained. And like you were just saying, back to back weekends. It's kind of been the anti Roma the last 2 weekends, going from losing against Parma to just totally dominating and just controlling this derby and getting the result that they needed and putting us, like you said, back in fourth place and on the brink of Champions League football in almost a decade, is is unbelievable. And I'm actually just like so proud of these guys that they've managed to step up. Like I've been asking them to step up for so long, and it's finally feels like our time, don't you think?
They really have stepped up, and it does. You hit upon that mark about it being almost a decade since we've been in Champions League. This is a historic club, one who should always be in the top four. We know that history hasn't been kind to us, but now with this group, post Ranieri, they've really come together under Gasparini. There really just does seem like a unification of the squad. Like all their heads are pointing in the same direction. The team seems really unified, and if we compare that against a team with much bigger assets like Real Madrid, this is the polar opposite. I see guys who are united and guys who want to fight for bigger things and who work together. And you can't achieve those things. You can't be down in the 90th minute, score a goal, and then score another goal a few minutes after unless everybody's totally on the same page. You can't win a derby if everyone is not fighting for that collective, if everyone's not totally amped up and feeling it as well. Because a derby, it doesn't matter about form. It doesn't matter about. I understand Lazio didn't have a lot of players coming into it. They had their third string keeper, whatever. That stuff really doesn't matter because these matches are won off of emotion. And if your head is not there and your heart is not concentrated on the objective, you won't win those matches. So, like you said, this team coming together, I really feel that right now. And if they do make Champions League, if Roma do beat Verona, them being able to stick together, having that money to satisfy financial fair play, it speaks volumes, man, to what we can really do.
I think sky's the limit for next season if they're able to get these 3 points, which is what I think they're gonna have to do because I think Como is gonna get it done against Cremonese, and uh, Torino I can never just count on in the Torino derby to do anything. They kind of just roll over all the time. Maybe this time they'll step up and do us all a favor, but uh, it's really between us and Como, and I think we absolutely have to win. So, um, but we won this one, so all you can do is win the games in front of you, and that's what we did. And I thought we were super professional today or yesterday, sorry, and I think these guys have kind of calmed down and settled into themselves. I think they've matured, and I think the first time I think we can say that this is Gasparini's Roma. Don't you think?
Yeah, there's the identity there for sure, and don't count on Torino to win the Derby della Mole. They haven't done it in I think since 2015. So, and I don't think Sunday's going to be any different to
No,
that.
no, no.
But identity, yes, we see the way they want to play, the way they go and impose their game. We see how Wesley is like what his target always is to get up the pitch to press and then counter press if they lose the ball. They're a rapid team, and it's funny because even players like Dybala, Mancini, who haven't been or even Pellegrini, Cristante, who haven't been utilized in these roles to go and take the match to the opponent, we see that they've bought into that system too. Even them, like 30 plus years old, and at that point, a lot of players they're stuck in their own ways, and I don't think any of those players have. Well, since Gasparini coached them a long time ago, they haven't played in that type of system. This is the polar opposite of how they played under Mourinho, which is to sit back and counter. And now we see that they really do have a certain style. And if they can have that style, then you know what players to get in the future. It makes everything so much easier when the players know what's expected of them, where they have to be on the pitch, what they have to do, and all the small little mechanics that go into it. So having that continuity is everything when it comes to football.
Absolutely. And I think having said that, the continuity is so important for what we're looking to build, and next year's the 100th anniversary of the club. And I really do think that the Friedkins and Gasp, they want to build something that competes for the title next year. And getting getting over the line is the thing that's gonna bring that to fruition for me. I think it can't be overstated how much
Yes.
we need it, and I think we can all agree that we deserve some sort of happiness. And to be perfectly frank, I think we've been at least the fourth best team in Serie A this year.
Yeah, I agree with you that I think right now Roma is the second best team. I really do. I believe that they're second only behind Inter. And then after that, Juventus is there on their day. Milan is not. Napoli is good, but
Napoli's still the second
I
best team.
think so.
Yeah, they're still the second best team. What they're going to be next
Conte
year?
left.
He's
Conte
leaving.
just
Yeah,
left today.
so
Yeah.
I don't. It's not official yet, but it's looking more and more that way that he's going to be gone. Which it may be back to the national team for him, and to me that's a big signal that we can even make that next rung next season because it uh, from what's being reported on that front that the reason why he's leaving is that Napoli wanted to take a step back. So if Napoli want to take a step back and not compete in that next phase of their evolution as a club, which would be to challenge Inter for the Scudetto and make the knockout rounds of the Champions League. They don't want to be that club. I think Roma does want to be that club. And I think we've been held back by not making the Champions League for so long that we have the ambition as a club. The owners want that so badly and haven't been able to make it happen yet. So if they don't want it for next season, we 100% do. So we might not be the second best team, in my opinion. I don't think we are. But next year, we definitely could and probably should be.
Should be. Yep. I agree with you. They definitely should be. When you look at if they're able to go in and reinvest in the summer and keep most of their key players, and I forget the word. What's not austerity, but to like consolidate. That's what I'm looking for. To consolidate some other wages and to get things aligned. I think this could be that year where they do cement themselves as second place. And then once you get to that point where you're a second place squad, the real thing that you need is not just only to make that leap to where you become like an elite club, but also you know that when you wear the crown, it's very heavy. And Inter they're not a flawless team. They could definitely have bad days, bad weeks. They could have injuries. Lautaro Martinez, they're very lucky that he plays in so many matches. So you never know, but you solidify yourselves as a second place team. You get into Champions League in 1 year, then that becomes 2 years, and that becomes 5 years, and that's how you build dynasties. So I hope that the Friedkins, I have to imagine that that's their thinking at least until the stadium's done, when before they sell the club. So I'm hoping that's the situation going forward.
You got to buy a ticket to win the race, buddy. So
Yeah,
And I think we're about to cash in, at least on a small one. So, uh, but that's funny that you're talking about the Freakins. I thought it was pretty a pretty good story that Ryan was at the club the whole week, taking care of business. He has a bunch of stuff on his desk to take care of with all the renewals and people leaving, like El Sharawi, who got a hero send off, I think, which was part of the emotions of the game, and I thought it was a beautiful scene to watch him get hoisted up and get his honor for his last 10 years of dedication to the club. It made me so sad to watch his video, um, but um,
I haven't
he,
seen it
he
yet.
you haven't seen it yet?
No,
Oh, you
no.
should, man. You should. He's got so many good memories and so many beautiful goals.
Yeah,
He's just so skilled, man. He's just such a silky player and fun to watch. Like one of those ones like we grew up loving. Like I love Cassano and Vucinic and Mancini. So he's just such a fun player and a fun guy to root for. Um, so it was bittersweet and funny that he played so much of the game. I don't know how you thought about that,
I
but
was laughing. I was like, "This is awesome! Look at him out there. He's killing it." So I was glad to see. But you could tell he's a little step, a few steps behind at this point. But he made some really good decisions. Like there was one point where a lesser player would have tried to take on a defender or two and run away down the left flank, but he actually slowed the game up. That's a sign of a very experienced player,
he's a mature
and
player.
he is, and it's kind of like you don't have too many mature wingers, but he is one of them. So somebody raised the point on Twitter too, like, oh, he doesn't cost a lot. Roma should just keep him around. I don't think so. I think everything went according to plan. I think it went how it should
Yeah,
have, and I think it was a nice sending off. Seeing him celebrated in front of the Curvasuda, either you go out the hero or you stay long enough to become a villain. So I think that everybody made the right choice here. So I'm excited for his next chapter, and he'll always be remembered. Like he's going to be one of those guys in a few years who's in the Curvasuda in costume or in like De Rossi did in a disguise. So he's one of us.
he's one of us for sure. He's stamped his card. He can sit in the Curvasuit, I think for sure. And I wonder where he does go from here. I haven't read anything beyond maybe like a Genoa, a lower club, like a more provincial club. So I'm not sure where he heads. I'm not sure if he's gonna go catching another paycheck, but uh, all the best to him, man. He deserves something, and uh, glad he won a trophy with us, and he got a really good victory in the end. So and hopefully we send him off in true victory and true style next week.
He's going to go to Toronto FC.
I think we've given up on signing the Italians. I think it's done. I think it's over for that.
Well,
Yeah,
Insigne Insigne played for Toronto FC, right? I'm
yeah.
not crazy. Yeah,
He sort of played for Toronto FC. I think he had
yeah,
maybe a handful of games for I don't know, like I think he made a boatload of money. I think he was on like 6 million net. It was
crazy.
yeah, it was crazy stuff. Him and Berna, man. What a time.
Yeah, now Bernardeschi actually looks like a pretty good player again, which is nuts.
I never would have thought he would have came back to City A and had like a real impact on a
Me
really
neither.
a decent Bologna team. So
Yeah, I
uh,
like really, really thought he was finished. Like that's it. Goodbye.
yeah, and everybody kind of wanted him to come to Roma a few years ago.
Yeah,
So who knows how that would have actually ended up in the end?
another Fiorentina winger. Like
Yeah,
him, Chiesa, Sotil, a lot of those guys that came out of there went to Florence or wherever they are now. It's funny how they that club produces a lot of those guys. But where El Shadowy ends, I don't know. But good luck to him, right?
good luck to him. And I'm telling you, I still have a hangover from this game, pretty much. So to my original point about the Friedkins, Ryan was in town. He came to the game, and from all reports, he actually was on the team bus, and he gave a pregame pep talk to the players, which I'm not sure how much that counted for anything, but I think that's at least a good sign. Uh, that ownership is getting involved again and hands on and showing their faces and being a part of the club.
Yeah, I'm like imagining what he could have said.
I wonder if he speaks Italian. I don't know if I've ever heard if he speaks Italian or not. He's got to do something. He's
Maybe Dilota, she taught him a little bit,
yeah. God
but I don't know
bless.
if we could use those words.
No, 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 not what he's done. No, but I think it's awesome, man.
I
So
want that
hopefully,
job, Marco. You think you could hook that up for me? The
I
Ryan
can.
Friedkin role?
I got a lot of strings, but I don't know if that's one that I can pull for you, buddy.
Pep
Sorry.
talks,
Yeah,
Cristante renewals.
Mancini renewals.
Oh God.
Who
Uh,
again? We haven't really gotten into the beginning of the game, but MVP, MVP of
yeah.
the game. He just
He's had an awesome season, let's be honest. He's been really good. I know a lot of people don't like Mancini, but he's been great. I know like he's gotten flat-footed a few times. He gets burnt occasionally at bigger matches. But across the board, man, if you want to talk about 38 games in a season, Mancini's been pretty damn good for a lot of them.
he's to me he's good and not a great player. Like I don't think he's ever taken the step up to be like a Chiellini or a Bonucci. Uh, but I think for us, he's what we have, and he's pretty good. Like I mentioned earlier in the intro, he's the first defender to ever score a multiple goal game in a derby. So he's got his name in the record books.
Yeah, that's his third, by the way. Last year, he scored another game winner, which ended 1-0. So that's his third goal in the Derby, and now he's on the leaderboard.
He's
Um,
the new Pellegrini.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So he's probably the highest scoring defender of the Derbies of all time. I have to double check, but I would
That I
wager that.
haven't seen yet. I know he just came. He's second behind Aldair for the club total goals as a defender, but I haven't seen if he is the number one derby scorer with three. Three, he's got to be pretty high up. I don't know.
I'm gonna get that for you now. It's 11 with Dino da Costa and Totti, and then you've got Rocky. As far as I could tell, I'll keep looking this up as we chat. But top scorers, if I could get like a quick look. I know I used to have this type of information very on hand. Here we go. I got it now.
We're too old, buddy.
There's
You gotta have it on hand.
I know. Let's see. It's five would be like I don't know some of these guys. Selmosin from he played for both Lazio and Roma. That's kind of like cheating. Di Maria
Yeah,
played for Lazio. I'm gonna say these guys. Rodolfo Volk. That's a long time ago. He was a forward for Roma. So if I had to put my money on it, just randomly speaking, I would say that yeah, Mancini is the top defender of scoring for the Derby della Capitale. Jeez, Ciro Immobile had 6 goals, by the way. That's a lot. I'm so glad that he's gone
how
as
many
a player.
penalties?
Yeah, that's a good question. Anyway,
Eh,
going into the rest of the first half, Marco, we saw that really Lazio kind of took it to Roma. There were a couple chances, half chances from what's that left winger's name? It's a Portuguese
Oh,
name.
there's Cancellieri, and then there's oh, I can't.
No, the other guy. Cancellieri had a decent game. He had a couple chances, but he forgot how to shoot. Honestly, I thought Roma were pretty lucky at that. They were a
I
lot of
thought we were
flair and
very
no
lucky too. To be
substance.
perfectly honest, I did not like our game. Almost up until Mancini's goal. To be honest, I thought we were
Yeah,
way too open. Uh, I thought they were able to get in behind way too easily. We've actually seen that quite a bit this season in kind of our worst times that teams have been able to really target the space in behind uh, our our wing backs. Uh, but I mean, thank God they don't really have a lot of quality. I think that's kind of the difference between the two sides. That Lazio showed no quality in the final third. They had a really a lot of chances. The Noslin, I think, is the one you're looking for,
I
maybe.
was actually thinking of Nuno Tavares, the left back,
Oh, it's
but
the
he
left.
just gets
Yeah,
really high.
yeah,
Yeah,
he does get really high. Yeah,
he had a good game. Like he
he's
was a big player for them, I thought, throughout the whole match.
he's a unit. He's just a unit that gets up and down. But he is a good player. I can't remember if he's
He was at Arsenal, and then he was at Benfica, and then he went on loan. He was at Nottingham Forest. He's 26 now, so you got a guy in their prime. He's probably one of the few players that they have which are like big players for them. But by the way, I was just starting out here. It was Mancini and Vika Hermoso with Sally Cristante El Ainaoui, who stepped in for Kone, who's still injured. Then Wesley out on the left back with, or I should say, really left midfielder with Dybala and Pisili behind Malin. Just for the record here, as we start to break down this match a little more.
yeah, and
Um,
I mean the unfortunate news broke just before the match. Well, for me because I woke up at 5:45 a.m. That Kone was out. Um, so that's a huge blow. It looks like he's probably going to be out next week too. But uh, I think Neil did a good job in this game. I think he's probably the surprise one to. I think you could say out of everybody to come in and start. Uh, and every time he gets on the pitch for me, he kind of makes little things happen that none of the other guys can do on the field. Um, he's a good player, and I think we should let him settle in and continue with the team and work his way into the first team. And I think he's a very very useful player. And in his first season in Italy, I think he's come on and he can do real damage next season.
Yeah, I like the way he plays. I think he's got that engine, and like you said, he brings something different to the rest of the squad. Like he's just you see what he does on an international level, and you think, well, why doesn't he replicate that? Because he's used to those guys, and he just needs a little more time, I think. And those are players you want. There's a reason why Roma scouted him. There's a reason why everybody in France cried when he joined Roma. So I'm looking. Actually, they're playing. Morocco's pretty close to where I live in New Jersey. They're going to be stationed at a place called Pingree School, which is like a very wealthy private school, which is more like a college campus.
Okay.
I thought about trying to go and see him, but I'm like, I don't know, I really don't feel like stalking. I mean, so Roma fans have had their share of stalking in the news for enough for the
You
past
don't want to
month.
flash your Twitter profile at them, trying to get through the gates, drop your
No, no,
name.
it's me. Look, it's your guy. Let me
It's
through.
your
No,
guy. Yeah.
it's okay. So, but I really do feel like it would be way too preemptive to get rid of him. And then what? Who in place? And if you talk about like other center midfielders that I'm thinking of, like you could slot maybe a different profile in. But if you want a runner and you want an athlete, you want like a number eight who's up and down, then I'm not sure that there's too many players out there, too many realistic purchases anyway, that would fit the bill more than him right now. So let the man have his time, because I
Yeah.
think Gasparini will continue to instill faith in him too.
And he probably should have had an assist because he laid one out for SES and he slashed at it, but it
Yeah.
was a nice little slide pass over, and I think he should have put it away. But that's when we were kind of in charge, and that's the little things he can do, just driving forward. And I think he was pretty effective at that. He wasn't flashy. I don't think anybody was flashy for us, especially in the first half. Like we were saying, everybody was kind of Lazio had the majority of chances until we scored, and unfortunately on one of their chances, I think, uh, which was absolutely ridiculous play, and is going to cost us again for next week because Indica got hurt on it on the offside goal that they scored.
Yeah, that's a real big blow, man. He was talking about maybe Gilardi, of course, steps in. Not maybe. I think it will be Gilardi with
Uh,
Mancini and Hermoso. And it's just not the same. He's so fast. He's so good at being the last man in case that the other team does counter and gets in on goal. And I don't trust Verona, and this will be unfortunately not Roma's ideal starting lineup going into that match. It's not just Ndika now, right? Like you mentioned, Kone, and it's going to be without Wesley, which was I didn't like. I mean, Wesley pushed back because he had to defend himself. I really thought that just should have been a straight red to Rovella. I really think Roma should have appealed for
Yeah,
that
I
card.
think we were hard done by there.
It's a crazy
What
decision.
exactly? I still don't even know what he did.
I think because when Rovella was attacking him, he kind of like swung back. But of course he did. He's being attacked. So it just seemed like a just get out of here type of decision by the referee. Like, all right, just I don't want anything to do with either of you. Just get out of here without really thinking about it, without looking at video evidence. So I thought that was a very bad decision. I really wished Roma would have appealed it and made a claim like my player was acting in self defense. But so far, I don't think the club is planning to do anything
Yeah,
like that.
I haven't
So,
seen anything about them appealing it. I was hoping they would as well. But there's been no update on that so far. So,
but
I
in
did
steps
think,
wrench.
yeah, which would be okay if it was him, if it was Wrench and Wesley, but um, unfortunately we don't have that option now. And
Salik,
Salik, yeah,
your man.
the guy who hates to cross,
Definitely
but
not his forte, Marco.
not his forte. But I thought there was actually an incident in the first half between Hermoso and I think it was Cancellieri where they got into a headbutting match. And I thought that was actually a little bit more dangerous play on both of them than probably Rovella and Wesley, who just sort of like it was like punching air. They weren't even doing anything with each other.
Rovella's
It was kind of
punches were.
sad.
I was dying watching Rovella try to throw a punch. He punched like from his hip. Like he kind of I've never seen a full grown man throw a punch like that. Like
It's
usually you
so
hit a
funny,
punch like
man.
you raise your hand up and you follow through. Like that was crazy. I was like, you really look like I hate to say you look like a little girl when you punch. Like, dude,
It was so funny, man.
you look like a fool.
There's an angle of Cristante's face watching him throw the punch. It's
You
so
gotta send
funny.
me that.
I'll
That's
try
great.
and find it for you after. It's so funny. There's a couple good photos and videos from the game. There's one
I
of
like that.
Mancini. I sent it to our group chat about Mancini's header and the Lazio defender jumping like a dolphin from behind.
Oh
To me
yeah.
it's so funny.
Those guys don't know what they're doing.
It's so good, so good.
I can't believe they're still in the. I honestly can't believe they're not like more like a 16th, 15th place at best side team. 'Cause they just,
Lazio,
yeah, they got nothing. But I guess
yeah,
because
it's
Castellanos was with them until January, and they just, I don't know. They're a team that
they've had a really bad season.
they
Uh,
stink.
yeah, they stink. To me, that they're not our biggest rival. Eh, Like
No.
I don't care about Lazio too much. Like it it doesn't ruin my day when they win. Like I hate Juve way more than I hate Lazio.
That's how I am. I'm not Roman. So
Yeah, I'm
when
not
I
Roman,
when I was
so
growing up, it's like a I understand that from the club, but I don't have that hatred. My club, like you said, was Juventus because I saw when I was a teenager, I saw Juventus cheat in front of my eyes, and and I knew it happened before Calciopoli, and I remember being a young teenager and being like, this is wrong, and I can't believe that they're getting away with this. And then, of course, everything went down, but that's what really made me hate Juventus.
yeah. I wonder if that's a North American thing. I really do. I wonder if that's like our age telling and where we grew
Probably
up.
to a point, yeah.
I wonder if it's us, like, because Inter and Juve are the two that I just can't stand. So
Yeah, it's that
Lazio,
history.
Lazio are just there's like a little brother, like they're annoying little brother, like they're just sitting
Yeah,
there like
it's just always gonna be a crazy
swinging at your
match.
knees.
Yeah, for sure. What
So
else we got? What else we got today, Marco? I know you have a
what?
big agenda.
I got a big agenda, but set pieces again come through for us. Um, Pisili has been taking quite a few corners. He's taking the ones on the right, and Dybala's taking the ones on the left, which I think is interesting too. But he's been really effective at them.
Kid's got a good foot. Very good
Yeah,
set piece taker.
yeah, he's growing into that role, which I think is interesting as like a late season development because I don't remember him ever taking them before.
Yeah, his growth has been really good. On top of like him taking them and having that like responsibility and stepping up, the fact that he's doing that on top of what we've seen him as a player, like his overall inclusion in the team and his growth, his ability, just seems like on a different level the past 2 3 months. So I'm really satisfied with his development so far. I know like last season was a little trickier and there was a lot of things being thrown around and he just seemed kind of still like a prospect, but this year he's really starting to cement himself as like more than a rotation player, but actually like a borderline set starter. So that's a big net positive for
I
us.
would say so too, and I think it's kind of telling that he slots into the team and Cone is missing, and you almost don't miss him that much. That's how
Yeah,
effective he's been.
yeah, that's a great shout. That's a great shout because I was thinking, so for some reason I do kind of like forget him in my head, and I don't know why. But I'm like, oh, Kone, what's Roma gonna do? They're gonna do Pasili. So yeah, they'll probably if it's not like he's gonna start over Neil Alanawi. So that's probably what we're
If
gonna be
if
looking at.
everybody's healthy, like 100%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But maybe we see another like where he plays as a winger, or not really a winger, but kind of like a little bit higher up on paper.
It's like the left
Like
wing, like the left wing trick Batista, and
yeah, yeah, like how Pellegrini's often used.
usually, but then you usually have Wesley on the left, which helps
Yeah,
alleviate and keep somebody wide on that touch line, so you can have somebody drift in. Uh, but I think he's best as that deep lying playmaker, and it's best to have him there and not Cristante, which I think actually makes Cristante's life a little bit easier. Because if if there's nothing to yell at Cristante about, I think that's a pretty good day for him too. So he was not bad.
yeah, I like him there.
I
I
don't
would
know.
think
It's there's nothing to love. There's nothing
I want to
write
see
home
Roma
about.
go to the market. I really want to see them for midfield. If they're going to look at like getting a player who can slot a little further back, I think it's time to maybe look at like Fagioli from Fiorentina. And I'm thinking the right player, right?
Yeah,
From
yeah,
Fiorentina. They say,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not
Fedule
like
is
sometimes I like mess up the ex
him and
Juve guys
Moretti
sometimes.
are the two that came
Yeah, they
from
can.
that came up from Juve that
Yeah,
obviously
they like.
that do mess me up a little bit too.
Yeah,
So
then there's
don't
Moretti,
want to
then
get
there's Rovella. And I'm like, but yeah, I think Fagioli could be like one of those guys who would come in. I don't know if he has the legs, like if he's that athletic of a player, but I would,
he's been excellent for Fiorentina this season. So
yeah, I just think that maybe none of these guys are the answer that we have right now, but that might be one player to like somebody who can play a big ball, somebody who's got that vision and can switch sides, but also like ping it maybe 30 yards, 35 yards. So somebody just a little bit different right now is what I'm looking for going into the summer.
yeah, I think we do need a different profile. Somebody who is more of a polished version in between Cristante and Neil and Pisili. Like you need
Yes,
kind of
polished.
somebody who's got all those attributes, but we need a scorer from midfield. I think that's probably our number one thing uh, for the summer. I think that's probably our number one job. I haven't really
Yeah,
seen
shooter.
too many players that we've linked with besides I think like Kessier. Uh, Not somebody I'd go crazy over bringing. I did
I feel
watch
like
him
that's
last
a
summer. He
mystery.
was
That would
not
be a
bad.
mystery mark.
Uh, I think it would just be. I think it's just a paper name. I
Do you
think
think Pasili can be that guy, like the way that Coop
yeah.
Miners played?
I don't think again. I think he's really really good. He can do it all. But I think
Yeah.
he's best building up from the back. Um, he's really got a good eye. He's got a good head, and he's really good at doing those over his shoulder looks and taking the ball and being able to press past the player, and stepping out into the midfield with the ball and spraying it out a bit, which is what I'm looking for. Not somebody who's just playing blind passes like
Maybe like
Cristante does.
or what everybody thought Fratesi would be.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother with Fratesi this summer.
I think a lot of
That's,
people thought he was going to be that guy to play out of the back, and like that kind of like
you think?
six and a half. Yeah, the way that he played at Sassuolo, like he would often drop back to initiate the attack, and I think maybe Inter thought he had that duality about him, but I think that he's becoming old news. Like just from like an Azzurri perspective, I just think that Pisili's on the up.
Oh, absolutely. At 21 years old, doing that in these games, like he
Yeah,
doesn't look like he's sweating at all. He doesn't look worried about being wiped out. Like he's not the smallest guy, but he looks a little bit lightweight. Like he's out
yeah,
there doing sombreros on these guys. Like he's just a street. He's a baller, man. I think
yeah.
he's got a lot of class in those boots, and I can't wait to see what he does. Like with a full season, full preseason, Italy's not going to the World Cup, so we'll have some rest. Get to get to training camp next year nice and early, and be able to feel confident in what he's accomplished. Like even Coney could stay or go. It could go either way. We don't know yet about where everything, all the chips could land at the end of the day. But I think Pacili is one guy you can count on being there next season and maybe like one of the first names on the team sheet.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
So, what did you think of the second half?
I thought Roma at first that they were not that they struggled to control it. I think Lazio tried to start off with a little bit momentum, and Roma didn't know exactly how they were going to shape into the match. But then I think with a couple of substitutions, Roma just started to control more and more. I mean, like they had that first initial push, Lazio, in the first 15 minutes, and then Roma started to realize that they could control this game, like that they were the better team. And that's how I kind of thought exactly how it would go, in the sense that Lazio had spent a lot of energy the previous Wednesday against Inter in the Coppa Italia final. So they didn't have the legs that Roma did. And that's kind of like what we saw. We saw them start really brightly, and they kind of like outworked themselves. They used up all their juice. That when Mancini scored the first goal, that must have been like a major blow to
Yeah,
everything, because
that's a big body blow.
yeah, because they had blown so much energy from that first hour, but also, like I said, going back to Wednesday. So I think they were pretty gassed when that happened. And then we see Roma actually just be able to kind of dictate tempo. And once the second goal comes in, it's just lights out. It's all Roma from there. So,
Yeah, and I
and
thought I thought we could have added at least a few more goals in that second half.
yeah,
We had some really nice plays. Dybala was dancing again. He had another assist for Mancini's second goal. Uh,
yes,
and I think it's pretty telling that Gasp started him again,
yeah,
and he dropped Sule for him.
yeah, yeah. That says a lot, doesn't it? Like especially when you think about the contract and that this is supposed to be Dybala's last derby, and then here he is still again. Gasparini sees him as the best player, so for that role, he's going to keep on giving him the nod. I
I,
think, and I don't think this is the last of it for Dybala.
I don't think you can argue otherwise, though. If he's got his health, he's the best player on the team. He's
Yeah,
got the most.
different level.
He's a different level. If he's healthy and fit, he's a world class player. And I
Yep.
think you've seen the difference between having him in the starting 11 versus those months of him gone. It's
Yeah.
it's night and day. Like you're walking on sunshine out there with this guy. This guy's dancing on the touchline. He's embarrassing these guys.
I really don't know what happens with Sule. If Roma do sign Dybala, right? Sule is going to be entering 23 years old. He'll be about 24 maybe by the end of
I
next
think he's
season.
24, but
Is he 24 already? I don't know if you want to fact check me. But at that point, if he's not going to be starting and somebody like Aston Villa comes along and they say, hey, we're going to give you a 20% salary increase and you're going to start for us, you're going to play in England, the best league in the world. I think that might be something to keep an eye out for. And I mean, I was surprised to see links at first, but then when I thought about it more, I was like, yeah, actually, yeah, maybe I could see that happen. And then who steps in? I don't know, but I do think that Roma would look for somebody a bit more explosive. That might be something very, very interesting because there's a lot of players, at least three or four big players who could probably replace Sule, and Roma wouldn't have too much of a hard time coping with it.
So just to give you his proper age, he just turned 23 on April 15th. So he's still very young,
Oh yeah,
especially in terms of City. He's basically like Bambi out there. Um, he's got so much talent, and I think he showed that coming in the second half. I think he created a few chances. He almost had this beautiful curling shot and it's pretty much his signature
his
move now.
forte. Yeah,
It's just cutting in from the on the right onto his left from outside the 18 and curling one in
yeah,
top corner. It was a little more central, but it was still a very good save from Lazio's third keeper. But I think the two of them are would be key pieces uh, going forward because you can't count on Dybala to play all the time if he sticks around. And Sule, he goes through a bit of phases. He still needs to step up on the biggest stages for us. Um,
yeah. He needs to start playing more free. He needs to kind of feel himself a little bit, find some rhythm, loosen up a little. But that'll happen wherever he goes. I
to
think
me,
he's far from the finished
they're
product.
they're almost complementary pieces, but just not together. If you know what I
Right,
mean.
right.
Like
Yeah,
they
yeah. They
complement
don't
each
have that.
other. They don't have the chemistry on the pitch together, but I think in a squad they actually do really well, um, balancing each other out a bit because you need quality. That's the jump we need to take, and Dybala has the quality,
Right.
and that's what he gets done in these top games. He's scored against Inter. He scored against Milan. He's done it everywhere, and Sule still needs to find that gear in his game, which he
Yeah.
can. But when you have somebody to shield him like Dybala can, the two of them are a pretty effective duo and pretty good depth on the right side. I think you probably still need one more guy who's able to float and fill in those gaps when Dybala's hurt, but I think that's a pretty good foundation to start with, and you can kind of see why Gas was pushing to have these guys stick around.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think you touch upon something though, like to get to that next level, you need one more guy. I just feel like, well, we know that. This is not a surprise, right? We go back to Sancho, that player was never signed. Zaragoza wasted all of our time. I don't even think
I think he's
Gasperini
one
knew
of the
who he
most
was.
expensive signings of the year, just by
That
minute.
It's nuts.
And we
It's
have to
nuts what a
pay
waste.
for him to go back to Bayern,
Are you
which is
serious?
yeah. We have there's a clause that we have to pay.
That's an awful deal.
It's a terrible deal, which
Ricky, Ricky,
it's
Ricky.
well that it's kind of tricky to say if it's Ricky or Gas, but there's a bit of discrepancy about whose signing it really is. I've heard a lot of that he was actually a Gas request, which doesn't make sense because he came in, played a couple games, and was never heard from again. So either you got to look with him with his own eyes and said this is not
Yeah,
not the guy for us.
this ain't it.
This ain't it. But he ain't
Maybe
it.
he thought he was gonna be like a Papu Gomez 2.0. That was the
Maybe,
hope.
yeah. I think we were just starving for some speed at the time,
Yeah,
and a winger uh, that he could throw in there, but he wasn't it. So it's pretty imperative next year that we find the guys to complement Mullen. And like I said to you last week, uh, Dybala and him, they got a thing. Even
yeah.
though even though Mullen didn't score, he still they still were able to find each other a little bit, and uh, he had
Different type
a
of
great
match, right?
chance.
So cagey.
Different type.
So when that happens, right, it just makes it kind of throws off the balance. It throws off the yin yang. that they've definitely developed. So I would, uh, if we could just add a little more star power, a little more firepower, then we just gotta figure it out this summer for sure. I think this is prime time now.
This is it. Yeah, this is our chance. This is our chance to take the next step. And
We got a great striker. Dybala's got 1 or 2 more years left, to his career probably at this level. So it's right now.
yeah, it's so funny to think back, like that we were casting these guys aside as the sixth place gang, and now we can get it done and solidify ourselves in that top four next week. Um, and these guys, it looks like a cohesive group now, rather than like the kind of mishmash band of bit misfits that nobody kind of wanted. Um, so I don't know. It feels like we're finally in a place where uh, everything feels like everybody's on the same page, top to bottom, almost. As soon as they kind of get rid of Masada, which I have no idea when they're gonna pull the trigger on that. Maybe after next week we'll find something more definitive on
Yeah,
that.
sooner rather than later, hopefully.
Sooner sooner
But
rather than later,
we got
because
this one more match now, though,
we got
Marco.
this one more match. So we've kind of wrapped everything up. We've talked pretty long about the derby. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest before we speak a little bit about next week?
Let's jump into it.
Let's jump into it. Okay, so tied tied for third place, losing on head to head with Milan. So next week is crucial that we get 3 points against Verona, a Verona side who have been loving playing the top sides the last few weeks. They took points off Juve, they took points off Inter, and they sound like they're kind of hungry to play us next week. Uh, we're missing a few key guys. What do
And
you
it's
think,
away.
Agnes? And it's away. If it was home, I'd feel a lot more confident.
Yeah, this would be very disruptive. You don't want to go to the Bentagori needing all 3 points in a position where your backs are up against the walls like ours are right now. And Milan don't have a tough match, and Juventus don't have well, they have the derby, but still, I wouldn't consider that a tough match.
Like I
So,
said, I think Como is the team to look out for behind us.
yeah, they're
I,
sneaking
I
right in.
really do. I really do think they are the team.
Yep.
I saw a stat today that I think we have a 70% chance, 60% chance of making the Champions League. Como's at 25, Juve's at like 16. I can't remember what the actual math was, but Juve has a very very tough hill to climb because of what they did at the weekend. Um, so
Crazy.
it's crazy. So the team I'm worried about it is Como. We have Cremonese, and I think I think they're probably gonna beat them. Don't you?
Well, I do. And I think that what we're going to see on our side is an identical starting lineup to the match against Lazio, sans Wesley, who will be substituted for Wrench. And then we'll see, I shouldn't say identical because there's actually two or three
There's a
players.
few, yeah. There's a few things to kick around.
Gilardi steps in for Ndika. And I think that Selig goes out on the right as he did. And Wrench steps in for Wesley. And who else are we missing out? Well, Kone, well, he was out against Lazio too, so we'll
It
see.
looks like it
Yeah, I
looks
think
like Kone
City
and Pellegrini are going to be the two guys who still miss out.
still missing. So I think we'll see Pesili then go into that, I don't want to say inverted, but more withdrawn role between the attackers and the midfield. And then El Ainawi will get his second start in a row. That's what I would like to see. I think that's what makes the most sense for everybody. So, what are Roma's chances, Marco? What do you think? I think 75%. I think
Uh,
75% means they win this match.
I'm going to say 60. I'm going to say 60 because we're away. We're missing some key players. Anything could happen. Verona's done, again, like I said, they've been doing very well against the top sides. They appear to be liking playing spoiler on their way down to Serie B. So even though they're at the foot of the table, uh, I I feel like it's gonna be like Totti's going away game where Geno's gonna like playing spoiler
Yeah.
to the party.
Yep.
Um,
That's what
so
their
I
players have to live for. I mean, you have
that's
to
what they're
remember,
living
like,
for.
they need contracts too. They need to show up.
They
So,
need moves.
yeah.
I can't remember the goal scorer's name for Verona off the top of my head. Um, but he's saying I want to score. Like we're looking for moves here. So I'm concerned about it. I'm more of a pessimist always. So I'm naturally inclined to feel that way. Um, so I'm optimistic.
You're
I'm
hoping for
optimistic.
a goal in the first half for Roma.
That's what you're
You're
hoping
a
for.
goal in the first 20 minutes.
You're looking for something to settle it down. And I
Yeah.
do think playing at the same time actually is very beneficial. Like I think this week, some people were complaining about the game. They were all the all the teams were playing simultaneously, um, but I think that really worked into our advantage, to be honest. And I think it got into UA's heads that they were out, they were down. So I
Yeah.
think if
That's a good
something
point.
similar happens this weekend, good or bad, uh, it puts a little bit more pressure on the situation.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing that it's there. So I'm hoping we show the same drive and determination to get the 3 points that we have been the last few rounds. So
Yeah, we
uh,
a little bit more left in the gas tank. Almost there.
almost there. Then that's the only thing I can think of. Like you're saying, you think Neil's going to start. I'm wondering actually because Wesley's not there, if Gasp does go with Sule, Dybala, and Malin from the start, just to because Wrenches he's actually done very well statistically, attacking wise. But I wonder if Gasp kind of puts the brakes on them flying forward as much as Wesley likes to do, and he has the three guys at the top try and carry the attacking impetus for us.
See, it's a great shout, though. I think that you make a great point there that he could go a little bit more top heavy, knowing that he's not going to have that weapon in Wesley.
It's an option, so we'll see how it plays out. I don't know. The time was confirmed. So North American time 2:45, 8:45 for local time. For me, I'll be in Beijing. So for me, it's actually going to be 2:45 a.m.
Oh
Uh,
boy.
so it's gonna be a pain. I hope they don't make it worse for me.
Will you have adjusted to the time shift at that
Absolutely
point?
not. No, I the
No.
last time I went, I had the worst jet lag in the
Yeah,
world.
that's
So
gotta be wild.
it's bad, man. It's bad. Uh, Thankfully, I'm there for about 20 days. So by the time I get back, it probably won't be as bad, but it's pretty rough. So
Yeah.
I might be up anyways. I have an 8 a.m. flight the next day, so I'll probably just wake up that time anyways and hope that these guys make it worth it.
Just praying. Hope.
Just
Hope is a
pray.
big word.
Hope is a big word. Hope is what we'll leave it with. All right, well, Wayne, so happy to have you here, man, and hopefully we'll try and make something work for next week. Otherwise, maybe we'll have separate thoughts because I'll be 12 hours ahead of you.
All right, man. Have a good trip. Romanisti. See you. We'll see you sometime next week. All right. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, see you, Wayne.
Bye, guys.